It's time for every one of us. Can you feel it? It's time. It's time for every one of us. If we get knocked down, we won't just get up. It's time we all rise up. Rise up. When stars step up. When a dome stands up. When a city lights up. We all rise up together. Touchdown! When we come on the field, we rise up. Rise up. From kickoff to the last play, we rise up. This is our time, Atlanta. We've been knocking on the door. Now it's time to blow it up. Tell me, what do Falcons do? Rise up. What do Falcons do? Falcons rise up. That's what I'm talking about.
There is a flag down on the play, but it's going to be
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of All In with Nate. Actually, my second show today. If you've been staying tuned, I did one about Georgia earlier. But Falcons pulled out a 13-8 win. It wasn't impressive by any means. I mean, what Herm Edwards say, you play to win the game. At this point of the stage, that's what the Falcons are doing. You got to play to win the game, and the Falcons found a way to win. So I'm glad they got the dub. They improved to 6-6. You now have a game and a half lead on the division because you haven't lost to nobody in the division just yet. You have a win on both all New Orleans, Carolina, and Tampa. You got Tampa coming in this week. So the Falcons have a golden opportunity over the next 2 weeks to possibly run this, to get a chance to run with this division. That's the positive thing. As far as the record being 6-6, again, you have to win the games that's thrown in front of you. You basically are being gifted the division title if you play good ball. But let's be real, this team has not played good football. They did not play good football today. They really didn't. It was out of it on play calling today. Today was a very bad game offensively. I felt like, and this is no disrespect to the New York Jets defense. That defense is really good. But there were plenty of times in the game where route concepts weren't working. You had a issue of the team is just lethargic at times on offense. You know what you're going to do. You're going to run. You're going to toss sweeps to the right to BJ. You're going to run up the middle with Cordell. You may toss sweep again to, Tyler Algier. You might throw the ball up to Kyle Pitts. So the Falcons are really lethargic on offense, and it's irritating to see at this point, because as rough as this offense has been at times, this team is now 500, and you're probably the best of the worst division in football. And that's not saying a lot, but it's also a situation where the Falcons could possibly win this division with a bad offense, inconsistent quarterback play, and a pretty good defense, who, by the way, they played a great day. I know the Jets' offense is not as good as well. Of course, they started Tim Boyle. He was awful for the Jets today. They brought in Trevor Siemian. He was not much better. So, again, the Falcons found a way to win the game, and that's what you have to do at this point, because as you get ready to play these last 5 games, the last 6 games, you got to go ahead and earn the wins you are supposed to earn. Today was one of those games where I thought it could have been a toss-up. I thought the Jets defense could have possibly held on enough for them to win this game. But again, I mean, the Falcons found a way. So good win for the Falcons. They got the 6-6. Let me keep these comments real quick. Duke Dub, what's going on, bro? He said free picks. I'm going to be honest with you. Kyle Pitts did not have a good game today. He got some receptions. He got targeted pretty frequent. I'm going to show the stats in a little bit. But Kyle Pitts was not as consistent as he needed to be today. The Jets secondary did a pretty good job on the tight ends. I don't know why Arthur Smith kept trying to put him one-on-one with DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. Those are 2 of the better corners in the league. The Jets defense is actually top 10. And you're out here putting your tight end in this type of situation. You need to put him in the same situations that you're putting a Jonnu Smith or Michael Pruitt, who scored a touchdown in the second quarter today. You got to get your guy that you drafted at number 4, you got to put him in the best positions possible. And I don't feel that the Falcons do that with Arthur Smith running the show. And I also will be one of the first to tell you, I think 2 things. One, I think Arthur Smith is one of the worst play callers in the National Football League. And it's a miracle we're 6-6 despite it. Number 2, I also feel that he needs to relegate play call at some point because it's too simple. I get it. You're a rushing team, but at the end of the day, you can't be so stagnant to the point where you're barely moving the football. And that's what happened throughout this game. If the Jets had an ounce of offense, they probably win this football game. And that's the truth. The defense played well enough to keep us from, they didn't get, also, by the way, I don't know, shout out to the Falcon defense. The Falcon defense have went, I think, almost 30 drives over the last couple of weeks, and have not given up a touchdown. That's very impressive. I think our last touchdown we gave up was in the second quarter in Arizona. So that's very impressive by the Falcon defense. But again, you got to win. That's what the name of the game is for the Falcons, and getting to 6-6. You got some help from the Lions today. They beat the Saints. Of course, Carolina and Tampa are both playing against each other right now. So that game, it does and it doesn't matter at the same time because you got Tampa Bay coming in here. So for me, the Falcons have to handle the next 2 games. They have to handle the next 2 games. So you handle the next 2 games, find yourself possibly at 8-6. This division is over. That's really where it comes down to for the Falcons. Your road is ahead of you, but the offense has to be a lot better. You're getting a home game. I'm sure it's going to be a good crowd. You're in first place. You have a chance to extend the division with a win, and you got to take advantage of it while you can because 2 of your next 3 games are at home. And after that, you're going to be on the road, the final 2 against Chicago and New Orleans. So you got to get these wins week by week. Again, if you're a Falcons fan, you know where we're at with this thing. I'm not counting wins before it happens. You have to go week by week with this team. Moving on to the next comment, Anthony Xavier said, you locate the Houston? No, sir, they don't. Lead the Falcons right where they at. Don't nobody else want that mess. Believe me, they don't. Ryan Burns of Gordo, he said free sauce. It's a shame that Jets defense is really going to waste this season because of the lethargic offense on their side. Today was probably the situation where who was the worst offense on the field? And today was by far the Jets. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I know Aaron Rodgers got back help. He's coming back from that ACL injury. He said he's going to give himself 21 days. He does not need to play this season at all. If you are the New York Jets, at this point, your division is over. The Dolphins are going to probably run with the division. The Dolphins are going to run with the division. Buffalo's going to be in the wild card race. And now it's just you and New England down there figuring out how to get a top pick. Go get one of the better offensive linemen in the draft for a solid piece to add to that defense. Well, the defense is already pretty good, but go add you another piece to that team that can help Aaron Rodgers when he does come back from injury because he will be back next year. So if I'm the Jets, I'm not rushing Aaron Rodgers back for what? That division is over. The Dolphins ran it up on the Commanders in Washington, so that division is over. Moving on to the next comment, Frank Green said, what are your thoughts on a quarterback and head coach situation? I think I still stand by the fact that Arthur Smith need to be fired. I still stand by that. Even with us winning at 6-6 in first place, I do not like Arthur Smith. I think that he needs to be fired. I think he holds his team back in a lot of ways. And a lot of the fans, yes, Ritter, and I'm not going to give Ritter he's technically a rookie excuse still, but I also say this. I think in a lot of situations, the Falcons offense don't benefit a quarterback that's trying to work his way into the, into the market. And I feel like Arthur Smith, Dave Ragone, those guys don't develop their guys like they should. And if you're the Falcons, you keep going offense in the draft. Kyle Pitts, I don't know what to think about Kyle Pitts at this point. You don't really get him involved. You throw the ball to him now a little more this season. I don't think it's so much of he's not 100% healthy. I just don't think you know how to get the ball to him. Drake London can really be good with a better scheme. If you ask me, Bijan Robinson is talented. He went over 1,000 yards combined for a rookie, which we all expected. Really good player, but you're halting his skill set because you're too lethargic at this point. That's the issue for the Falcons right here. Because talent-wise, this team is good enough to at least win this division. This division is in a free fall for the most part. I mean, New Orleans is getting older. New Orleans probably got to blow that team up really, really soon. They're going to blow that team up. We all see it. Carolina is in a really bad situation as well. And Tampa, they have a lot of veterans on that team. But if you're Tampa, I would just blow that roster up and go ahead and start looking towards the future as well. That's what I would do if I was them. So you're in the best set position in this division, but play calling has been very lethargic from Arthur Smith, and I'm just really getting fed up with how lethargic his play calling is. It's really bad. Darrell Mason, what's going on, bro? He said Arthur Smith got to go, man. I don't even want to win the division anymore. Unfortunately, we're probably going to win a division by default. That's just God of the truth. We're probably going to win a division by default, even with how bad this team is offensively. And I hope it don't save Arthur Smith because, honestly speaking, Arthur Smith holds us back in a lot of ways. You see how bad this offense is. I don't even know if we broke 20 points last week, but we went right back to what we've been used to doing. Younghoe is leading the NFL in accuracy as a kicker. He's done better than Justin Tucker, which is a good and a bad thing. That shows you how lethargic your offense is. But again, your team is good enough to possibly win that division and find yourself getting a wild card game. Do I have us going far in the playoffs? Absolutely not with Arthur Smith being the coach. I think whoever comes to Atlanta will run us up and down the field. We'll be happy to get a playoff game. But that's really where I'm at with that. On to the next comment, they might as well trade Bijan to picks. Bijan's gonna be that guy, whether it's with Arthur Smith or the next head coach, the next offensive coordinator. But Kyle Pitts, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I ride the fence with Kyle Pitts right now because I don't think Kyle Pitts is a bust, but I don't think Kyle Pitts has been utilized 100% to where we know what we have. So it's kind of getting to that point where why did you draft him at 4 to not really have him be one of your star guys in your offense? Again, I don't want to hear you can't scheme it up for Kyle Pitts because a washed Matt Ryan put 1,000 yards. They made him an 1,000-yard Pro Bowler as a rookie. I'm not trying to hear that. Let's go, S4L. But what's going on, bro? He said Arthur Smith got to go for sure. Yeah, and I'm not the one that always scream for a head coaching job. However, for a guy who is a offensive-minded coach, he's not it. He just doesn't work for us. And I feel that he's so stubborn that he's not even trying to open that playbook up. He'll force it. You may tell him this week Drake London don't get the ball a lot. He'll throw 10 times to him straight. You say Bijan's not touching the ball. He'll give him 15 carries of toss sweeps. That's just the stuff that he calls. It's irritating. Tevin Ratcliffe also said free pitch. Yeah, hey man, it's definitely we don't know what we have, and I hate that, and I really wish we would get an offensive mind in here. Chris K, what's going on, bro? He said you gotta get this content on YouTube. I actually am on YouTube. It's my name. You got to look me up and subscribe. And anyone that's not on there from Facebook, definitely look me up. I'll be on there pretty frequently, and I have different stuff like Madden content, all kind of stuff on there as well. But he said new coach, different results for sure. You got a solid team. Yeah, the team is positioned to win some ball games right now. But again, the offense is lethargic at times. Tavern said that the GM and the head coach is not in sync. Head coach want to run the ball, GM want to air it. Yeah, it's a tough situation because on one sense, you can see this vision that Terry Fontenot has as far as putting this team together. He's definitely got some key pieces on this team. However, I don't think Arthur Smith is able to really get this offense going. I don't see it. I just don't. And it would be the thing that will hold us back from really making any noise in the playoffs. Justin Brown said, we'll win if we have. Oh, yeah, the Jets are a really good football team. You can definitely tell that the injuries caught up to them. And again, they need to just, I would just say, screw this season, and I will start preparing for the draft. Finley, what's going on, bro? TJ, what's going on, brother? Finley said that Michael Penix Jr. This is the guy I would absolutely love the Falcons draft in the first round. I would love for the Falcons to go get a quarterback like that. But I don't want the next quarterback to be up under Arthur Smith. I don't think Arthur Smith is good enough to develop a quarterback. I think that guy got to be ready-made, kind of how the CJ Stroud situation is in Houston. So, Jordan, what's going on, bro? Say ready for Arthur Smith. He needs to go. Absolutely. I'm not an Arthur Smith fan. You know this firsthand. Anthony Xavier said free Bijan. Bijan, when I say Bijan is so talented, but I don't feel that they get him involved as much as they should. To me, he would be my everything on the field. He would be my CMC, my Alvin Kamara. I don't feel that they utilize him enough. Like last week, he had a wheel route for a touchdown in the New Orleans game that basically put the game on ice. But when you're not utilizing his full strength, then here you are. You're seeing a toss sweep. You go out there and catch a 1 or 2 yard pass. You got to utilize the guy that you drafted number 8. Same for Drake London. Get him more involved. Same for Kyle Pitts. Get him more involved. But we've been asking for the same thing. And, it's frustrating. Okay, he's ready for Arthur Smith to go. Times like this, I miss Mike Smith. Low-key, Mike Smith was our best coach. A lot of folks may not agree with that. They may say Dan Reeves, but Mike Smith had this team cooking for 5 years. But he wasn't great at drafting, and it caught up to us. That's the big reason why he got fired. Chris said, "Got help." Yeah, bro, go ahead. Go ahead. I always look for a guest on here. I say it all the time. And Philly said, if Arthur Smith see this, he's going to want to play. Hey, man, the whole fan base want to square it with him. So we'll meet him outside Mercedes-Benz next week. But let me go to these statistics for today's game. Let me just pull this up real quick. I'm not going to be too long with it. Let me go full screen so you guys can see this. Okay, as you see today, Desmond Ridder was 12 of 27 for $121, 1 touchdown. He got sacked 3 times. The Jets defense was getting back there. For the Jets, you see Tim Boyle was 14 of 25, $148 with a pick. He got sacked 1 time. Trevor Siemian actually got sacked 3 times. He only was in there for 13 snaps and had 66 yards. As you can see, let me scroll down to the Bijan Robinson stats. He had 18 of 53. This was actually a really bad day at the office on both sides running the ball. Algier was 8 of 26. Cordero Patterson was 5 of 11. The Falcons ran the ball 34 times for 90 yards. That is not even 3 yards a carry. 1, it speaks to how great that New York Jet defense is. 2, it speaks to how dumb Arthur Smith was throughout this ball game. Because literally, you didn't even break 3 yards a carry. That's pathetic. As far as the Jets didn't have a good day at the office running the ball. Dalvin Cook was 9 of 35. Breece Hall was a dismal 13 for 16 for 1 yard a carry. That's bad. So they ran the ball 25 times for 62 yards, averaging 2.5 yards a carry. Kyle Pitts led the team in receiving, 4 for 51. He had 8 targets. Bijan was 3 of 26. As you see, not a lot of production in the receiving core. On the flip side for the Jets, Xavier Gibson led the team for 77 yards. Garrett Wilson was actually held in check for the most part today, even after A.J. Terrell went down with an injury. He definitely had a 31-yard completion where Jeff Okudah just got absolutely smoked. By the way, Jeff Okudah had a bad game. It's actually been bad the last 2 weeks, but that's a topic for another day. Tyler Conklin, 3 of 35. Breece Hall, 6 of 29. Rucker had a reception, and so did Dalvin Cook. So pretty basic day at the office. The Falcons managed to force they've had actually 2 fumbles themselves, but neither of them were lost. The Jets had 4, and they lost 2 and recovered 2. So again, it was a really sloppy game. I mean, it was raining as well, as you see on the side. it was a crowd of 74,000. I don't even think it was that many. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you watch that game from start to finish, I don't think that crowd was 74,000 at all. I think they're lying. Let's go down to the defensive statistics. Jesse Bates got 7, and Bud Dupree have combined, for 7 tackles. Bud Dupree had a good day. He had 3 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 QB hits. Kay Nellis and D. Offer had 6 tackles themselves. Jeff Okuda had 5, and so did Nate Landman. By the way, shout out to Nate Landman. Nate Landman is a very, very talented guy. He was sitting on the bench last year. I think the Falcons should have been start back. He should have started last year. We probably had something cooking with him and Rashawn Evans, who I really wish we would have brought back. Tevin Ratcliffe said Jeff O gonna shake back what happened to AJ. He had a concussion in like the first drive. So it went down after the first drive with a concussion. So hopefully he clears protocol. He'll have back next week. As you see, Ebiketie been coming on the last couple of weeks too. He had a sack late in the game and got a chance to basically put the game on ice. Tony Adams and Quincy Williams led the team in tackles over for the Jets. Quentin Jefferson had a sack and a half. Jermaine Johnson had a sack and a half. Again, like as you see, it was kind of a rough but balanced day. Jesse Bates, by the way, was worth every dollar, Atlanta. He was worth every dollar. I'm glad you got him. An interception on the day. The Jets didn't throw, Ritter didn't throw any picks, which is good. As you see, Youngho had 2 field goals. Both punters had at least 7 punts. So it was a very, very rough day at the office. And let's go to the team statistics real quick. The first downs was very even. Both teams were bad on third down. The Falcons were 4 of 14. The Jets was 2 of 15. They were 2 of 3 on fourth down. As you see, the Falcons threw for less than 100 yards, 90 yards rushing. They had 6 penalties. The Jets had 11. They only had 1 rush attempt in the red zone. As you see, the time of possession was very even on both ends. So pretty ugly day at the office, I would say, for the Falcons. But again, you won. So that's good for the Falcons. You come home at 6-6. Now, on the positive side for things for the Falcons, you win the next 2 games, this team probably wins the division. And that's your goal, but you got to go game by game because Tampa's going to come in. I'm not sure what the score is right now between them and the Panthers, but they got to come in with a feeling.
I absolutely would not send that.
We have an opportunity to possibly cut into the Falcons division lead because at this point, they lost the game in Tampa in October, as you remember. They come in here to try to shake it up and split this series, but if they get swept, you now kind of put yourself on a little distance in this division. So Falcons really need to win this next game. Definitely, they really need to win the next 2 games, to just be honest with you. If you want to go ahead and put this division on ice, the next 2 games are important. So Atlanta has to get the job done over the next couple of weeks. And again, like I said, I don't think this team is not going to do a lot of damage at all. They're just pretty much the best of the worst division, but at this rate, you're at 6 wins with 6 to go. You need to get 5 to go. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You need to win the division. That's what you need to do. 9-8 need to be your minimum if you're the Falcons, because the schedule benefits you going 9-8, but you got to get the job done. And if you're going to the postseason, just getting that experience. Again, I said that the Falcons would have a couple of years before they really made some noise. I feel like they're still a good year and a half away from being a really good team. But I mean, if you make the playoffs and host a postseason game, that's a plus in the production of as far as you trending up, it's a plus for the Falcons. So again, that's your goal that you want to reach at this point is winning the division, but take it week by week. The offense got to get better. Tevin said, I low-key want to lose out so we can fire Smith, win the division he's staying. It's an unfortunate, tricky situation because the Falcons are undefeated in the division. They're probably the best team in the division at this point. Each other team is starting to show, signs of falling off. The Falcons can flat out in Tampa's chance of the division next week if they get a win. So they're closing in on a potential playoff spot. So we'll see. We will see. I know from the perspective of want to fire Arthur Smith. You know, I do not like Arthur Smith either, but that's just really where it's at for the Falcons right now. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I have to say about that Falcon win. The Falcons pulled out a 13-8 win. I will be in the building, of course, as usual, as you all know, next week against Tampa Bay. Guys, fans, come out. Come on out. Have a good time. It was a great crowd against the Saints. I didn't get a chance to talk about the Saints win last week. I was having technical difficulties on the air. So, again, Falcons going to need a good home crowd next week, which is they've been getting pretty good crowds all season. But, again, Falcons win next week. You might can start possibly talking about the playoffs or the division title. But let's get to next week. Let's get this win. But before we get there, week by week, shout out to the Falcons. They needed a big win, especially in this city, you know, rebounding from what happened last night at Mercedes-Benz with the Georgia Bulldogs. So, big win, Atlanta. Good win for the team. And moving on to next week. Until next week, we'll be back home against the Buccaneers. I don't know. I might end up doing a show today, but if you know me, my voice is going to be gone when I get off from the game. So we'll see. But good win, Falcons. And until next time, this has been an episode of All In with Nate. Checking out to go watch these Eagles and Niners, man. I'm looking forward to that matchup. I hope you guys are watching it too. But enjoy the rest of your week. Rise up, and the Falcons are in first place by themselves by a game and a half. Talk to y'all later.
Can you feel it?